Hey everybody, welcome to Workforce Gaming. I'm Brad, here with Doug.
Hey, and today I'm going to be leading this discussion because I was very excited about this. We are going to be talking about the Xbox game
Games Showcase, which I was
showcase.
also excited about.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I want to talk about this because first of all, I like talking about showcases, and I think this is an interesting showcase because it defied expectations both positively and negatively. And
I would only go one of those directions.
dude, you're getting Game Pass. I know you are.
A couple
But
times, yeah.
I think besides that, like to me, Halo, I don't have like any affiliation with Halo at all. And Brad, I just know like you grew up on Halo sort of thing. So I just want to kind of get your opinion on Halo Infinite. And I think just coming off the PlayStation 5 one, which you're both pretty excited about, I think it'd just be good to talk about this one. So first, I want to start off talking about expectations for this press conference. I was ready for Xbox to blow me away.
Same. I think
Is that too high of an expectation?
Yes.
Okay.
And I think that's what I kind of realized as we went through this is, in my mind, they'd spent the last year and a half going like, we bought Double Fine. We bought Ninja Theory. Here are the 14 studios, and we've got one or two new studios that we're building that have some like real big push behind them. And I think in my mind, my expectation was, we're going to blow this out, because they kept talking, we're doing our first party blowout. We're going to show you what's coming. It was like, we're going to give you, I was expecting, we have 13 studios. Here's studios 1 through 13. At least it might just be a tease, but we're going to tell you what every single one is working on. Yeah. And that was my expectation, whether it was big or small, whether it was, a studio, I'm trying to think who just put out a game, somebody who just put out a game going like, hey, we just put out blank, but here's our idea for our next thing. Here's like a couple teaser things for our next thing, which I think doesn't always show up well. EA is a prime example of that, but I think there's a way to do it well where you do it like in between different games when you're in a situation like this, where you're not like, here's concept art from the next Burnout. It's like, yeah, it's a car. Great. Okay.
Yeah.
But
it's
it's
like,
like,
did it really well was actually, I think EA actually did it really well with one particular game, that one with like the random dice game, where it was kind of like half developer stuff, but they actually did have a lot of stuff to show. I thought that was like a really good way to do it. And I think something like that should not be like too, I don't think that's too high of expectations or something like that. So that's kind of what you were thinking is like, but I mean, also it's like, I was also thinking it's like, well, they were only bought a year and a half ago kind of.
And that's true. So that's why I think my expectations were a bit higher than they needed to be, but I feel like what we got was an update on mostly things that we already knew about.
Sure. Yeah.
I feel like there was very little new, and the things that were new, like Fable, were like, we know what's coming. We know there's a new Forza. We know, I mean, we didn't know there was a new State of Decay 3, because that's one that just came out. They just finished up 2 shortly ago, but that's one where it's like, of course, you make money on it. We know that's coming.
Yeah. I think it's kind of interesting that one of the things, like maybe it'll kind of come back to this, is like, the most exciting games for PlayStation 5 are based on PS4 properties, and then the most exciting games for Xbox Series X are ones that have been around since the original Xbox.
That is a good point.
That's just kind of something. That's kind of one of the things in the back of my mind.
So with the exception of Everwild, did we see any new Avowed? Would be, I think.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few. I'm sorry. I'm not like that's definitely a way to like burn it down. But that was just like the one thing I know is like the number one game coming out is like, let's just say Halo. But it's like, it's always been Halo, and it's like, it's tradition at that point. But it's also like, well, State of Decay 3, Forza Motorsport, and like there's obviously like PlayStation had Ratchet and that sort of thing. But it's just kind of interesting that like the most anticipated game to me for PS5 is not Ratchet, it's Horizon, which is like a PS4 property, and like same thing with like Spider-Man too. It's like it's also a PS4 property. But I think that's kind of the kind of things I felt like kind of like I kept coming back to when I was looking at the conference.
And I think that's kind of where some of my expectations were too high, is I saw all these new studios that are new to Microsoft that don't have that legacy, where it's like, we're going to see Obsidian's new IP, which we did. We're going to see Compulsion Games' new IP. We're going to see Playground Games' new IP. And you see all those, even Playground going back to Fable, where it's like, I was excited for this because I was expecting, here is our version of Horizon. We're going to do a big open world RPG. It looks like this on Xbox. Okay, here's more of our third-person action-adventure game. Okay, here's more of our... And you're going to see all these different new IPs.
Here's our Mario Odyssey.
Ideas.
Here's our Breath of the Wild. Just whatever that game is. Whatever.
Here's our new thing. Okay, we did Halo, but now it's more of like a something different. We're doing Fable, but look, it's cartoony.
Yeah. No, I get what you mean. It's like you just wanted to have like that one sort of like standout, like this is Xbox.
I wanted my Horizon moment where you see the robot dinosaur, you're like, oh, what the hell is this thing?
Yeah.
And I didn't get that. I got, oh yeah, Halo looks cool. Avowed, maybe, I don't know. Stalker 2, that came out of nowhere. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah. I think it's good. I think it's good to get into it because we are kind of like dancing around these games. I think it'd be good to kind of start. I think the one thing I really wanted from this conference was a Hellblade 2 moment where I was like, that's in game. And then the opening shot. So the opening shot of this conference was this super highly detailed space station. I was like, holy shit, this is Halo. And then they went through this like amazing sort of like, which I thought at the time was real time. I was just like, holy crap, the people in this look amazing as they're building this armor. I was like, the graphics in this are insane. Because of Hellblade 2, I was like, it's like, wow, that's the 12 teraflops. I could see all flops. They're flopping really hard. Holy crap. And then I did have that like moment when I swapped like Master Chief talking to that guy. I was like, this is what the game looks like. Now I get it. And then like it started. I was just like, oh boy, that is some Halo ass Halo.
It is. Before we get into Halo though, really quick. This is why I almost interrupted you in the middle. I realized that Hellblade was so disappointed in this, it didn't even make this outline that we copied and pasted off of some other website.
They did talk about Hellblade, didn't they?
They did.
They absolutely
did.
And
we definitely don't have it on this list that we went through twice and also copied off of another website. So
that's a good point.
Clearly impressed.
I think it's going to show more help. They could have shown that trailer again with like a new scene. And I'd be like, oh, that's good. The power of Xbox.
But anyway, back to Halo.
Halo.
Some Halo-ass Halo, I believe is where you left it.
Yeah, I was just some Halo-ass Halo. So Halo looked like Halo, and then the new twist on it when they opened up the map made me go, I want this less. I feel like when you bring a new property to, like, let's take Ratchet. Like, okay, the new idea with Ratchet is that they're doing dimension hopping, which to me honestly not super interesting, but it's kind of cool. Mm-hmm. But then with like the Halo is like the new idea with Halo is we have an open world and then you have an Ubisoft map, and I was just like, oh no, that's the new idea.
Yep.
And that was kind of my impression.
And a grappling hook.
I don't want to talk about that. That's not. A new gadget is not worth it talking about. A new gadget.
If you think about, so the grappling hook, and here's my thing with this. Halo always hit that kind of fast-paced console gaming perfectly for me that Doom and Unreal Tournament did for PC gaming. They're clearly different speeds, but I think Halo is about the speed, the quickest that I feel like a game can go and be really manageable on a controller. You know what I'm saying? And when Doom put in that grappling hook, or Doom Eternal, I think it changed the way that game played a lot. And I think it's going to have the same effect here, where it is that minor thing, but if they implement it in the same way that Doom Eternal implemented essentially the same thing, so it is kind of that, like, well, you kind of stole that idea. I think that can have a pretty dramatic effect on it. I don't know if that'll show up in multiplayer, but especially in multiplayer, I could see that having a big change in the way that things are going on there.
So I guess the way I was thinking of Halo Infinite, I was expecting a Breath of the Wild style shift. And not necessarily Breath of the Wild, but you know what I mean? Like, okay, with what they did with that game, it's just like, hey, we are reinventing Breath of the Wild. And they called it Halo Infinite. Like, they didn't call it Halo 6. So I was like, oh, we're going to get that. And then what we're talking about when we're talking grapple hooks, to me, it's like we're talking Madden update.
Kind of. And the same thing with like the map and going open world, which I think is a big shift. But I think what you're saying with that Breath of the Wild is almost forced into this, because if you think about the first trailer that they showed for this game, it was not a typical Halo trailer. It was, look at this deer, look at this environment, look at where we're at.
Shit, that looked awesome.
And and again, and that's the thing, is where you get, okay, we're going open world, we've got these beautiful environments, like it seems much more like, okay, we're going to have a little bit of a different feeling to this, and then you get into it, it's like, all right, this is Halo.
Okay, I feel a little bit better, because I was like, was I expecting like totally wrong? I forgot about that first trailer until you just mentioned it. I was like, oh, that's why I thought this. It's like a very quiet, serene thing, and
and then it just pans out and you see Master Chief. So it's like, okay, we're going for something very different there, and then this is much more just like, all right, let's go kill those Covenant.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I think I feel a little bit better now. I'm trying to think if there's anything else about Halo that. Oh, one of the things that did make me more interested in Halo was not anything that they showed, but one of the things that developers said, which is really, really smart and kind of cool, was that is that Halo is not the game you remember it to be, and they want to make this game what you thought Halo 1 was.
Yeah, see, and I love that because
Which I thought was like, that's so cool. Yeah.
Because Halo 1, one of my all-time favorite games, when you step off into the environments there, you feel like you can go anywhere and you feel like you can approach things any number of ways. Now, we've seen way, way, way more progression on that. But I remember the feeling of first playing Halo when you first land and you're just walking around and it's just, you had that feeling of, this world is huge. I can go anywhere. I can approach this. And I don't feel like you've gotten that, especially more in the recent Halo games. I think they've they've been much more just that linear, straightforward pace. And there's some exploring you can do, but I always had this feeling like there is a world to Halo 1.
Mm-hmm. So does it excite you then? Does it excite you then that there's like that, or no, it's still just like, I'll play it when.
Before I saw that map, yes. And then I saw that map and went, I played Destiny already.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's it. And it's just, I mean, I will tell you that Halo 1 through 3, Reach, ODST, some of the best games in my mind that have ever been made. 343 took over on 4, and honestly, like 4 is not bad, but 5 wasn't great. And it's just kind of that, like, okay, I don't know. If I think Halo, like a 1, 2, and 3, all-time classics. 4, not bad. Pretty good. Reach, amazing. 5, I think I played through it once and like, okay, I get it. So just those 343 games have never lived up to Bungie's originals. And this might just be like old man talking.
Yeah, it sounds exactly like old man talking. But that's, things were better in my day. No, but it's funny. That's it is funny. Like when you think about a game like a series that you're not a part of, you're like, come on, guys, give the new guys a chance. But when you are that deep into a series, sometimes you do have those feelings about stuff, and I can totally understand that.
I will say I beat each of the first 3 Halo games a minimum of 10 times each.
Jeez, okay.
I mean, like, it was literally like normal playthrough, heroic playthrough, legendary playthrough, okay, co-op normal playthrough, okay, the later ones, all right, we're going like 3 or 4 player co-op through legendary runs. Like, I mean, and some of them, I mean, you could get to the point where you could beat them in probably, under 10 hours, so... Yeah, no, I mean, and then just 4 and 5 were not bad, but it's just you can see the shift, and to me, looking back and going like, well, they didn't make my favorites.
It's a hard expectation to beat, though, right? Exactly, kind of what it is, right?
You can't live up to masterpieces sometimes.
Don't go back and replay those games. I tried. It was. I
actually just played through Halo 2 last time I had Game Pass whenever Ori came out. So what was that? Yeah. April. So I played through Halo 2 back in April. Still one of the best ever.
I don't know. My feeling was definitely time and place. Anyway, State of Decay 3. State of Decay 3. The one thing the trailer to me, I was just like, oh, it felt. This one I was like kind of like, it feels like a weirdly Last of Us-y, and I know Last of Us doesn't have they don't get to have like a catch-all on all zombie games, but it just felt like it's like lone person in the woods, okay, and then it's like zombie deer, and I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. It's like State of Decay 3 is like, all right.
So I was riding high up until that State of Decay 3 logo.
Sure.
Because Halo, again, am I looking at Halo going like, this is going to be one of my all-time favorite games like I used to? No. Am I interested? Absolutely. I will play it for sure. State of Decay 3 starts then, and I'm seeing new characters. I'm seeing new creatures. I'm seeing things that I didn't know what they were. And I'm going, okay, this is what I want. We're getting this cool new game. Like,
funny.
Yeah, it looks like Last of Us Days Gone, that side of thing. But you know what? Like, if Last of Us is one of the greatest games ever, copy from the best. That's fine. Whatever. I get it.
Yeah.
And then that State of Decay 3 logo pops, and I went, oh no. So you're telling me we're 2 games in, we got Halo State of Decay. I wonder what's next. And then, not to jump ahead, but then Forza pops up and it's like, okay, this is a Microsoft contract. But up until that logo, I was so in because I was like, this is what I want. I want these new ideas. I want something new. And then you see that and it's just that disappointment of, nope, we're going back to the well again.
Yeah, and I don't really have anything else left to say that you didn't say, so I actually think moving on to Forza is probably a good thing. But yeah, I was kind of with you. I was like, intriguing trailer. Oh, that's interesting. The zombie deer I was like, oh, that's kind of. It was funny. It's like, oh man, I hope this isn't State of Decay because that's kind of a cool idea of a zombie. Oh, it's State of Decay.
Yep.
Yeah. Forza. I have nothing to say about that. It's a new Forza. They got every car game to me looks exactly the same now. They all look real. I don't know.
You could have put a Gran Turismo logo on there, and I would have gone, that's where that's coming to Xbox. Okay. Couldn't tell the difference.
So, Brad, you have been complaining about Xbox not having interesting new IPs. They need the Horizon moment.
Yeah.
Why is Everwild not super awesome to you? Because I thought this game was so cool looking. To me, this is like hitting all my bells. It's hitting my bells. That's not the right word.
We'll go.
I like this stuff.
I
like this stuff. The creature design is cool. It looked like, I'm not sure if it was like co-op-y. It looked like you're exploring a world, seeing new creatures in an open world. And I didn't understand. From what I understand, like they don't quite understand what the game is yet. I don't know. It looked really cool. It looked awesome to me. I was just like, this to me is that Horizon-y moment. I was like, I can see this game being freaking awesome just because of the style. Yeah.
I will give you all of that. My issue is exactly what you said. When I saw Horizon, I knew I'm hunting robot dinosaurs. I'm this girl. I'm going to go take down those robot dinosaurs. I don't know what those robot dinosaurs did, but they're bad, and I'm going to take them out.
Yeah.
I watched that trailer. That's really cool. That's really cool. And I kept waiting for that. What is this, a platformer? Is this like an adventure game?
Okay, sure.
And I think it hit the end, and I was like, well, that looks cool, but I don't know what it was. You know what I mean? And again, if you listen to what Rare's saying, they don't necessarily either. So I think it's kind of that moment of like, cool concept. Like I will probably re-up my 1 month Game Pass subscription for this, but
sure.
It's just it was one of those things where I need a little bit more detail to actually get excited about it.
I think it's that the re-up the Game Pass is like totally a real thing for sure. I guess kind of understand. I forgot that you don't really like concept trailers. Like you need the gameplay hooks.
I want something. Tell me what this is. Yeah. Give me a plot point. Give me something to latch onto. And this was just looks pretty.
I don't know. Cool as animals is enough for me for sure. Ori and the Will-O-Wisp. You want to talk about this one? I mean, we both pretty much enjoyed this game. But what was the reason that you want to talk about this one specifically?
So my reasoning for this is I have an Xbox One. I have a base Xbox One, the original one that came with the Kinect. Yeah. And I have never felt the need to upgrade from that. And this is the first time that something showed me why I would want to. Now, 60 to 120, like, I'm not that person who's like, oh my God, this is going to get me. But this is the only game that I looked at and went, they're trying to explain to me why I need a Series X. Halo Infinite will look like that. Plays on my Xbox One. Yeah. Everwild, going to play on my Xbox One. This is the only one where it's like, here's the stark difference. Here's why you would move up. Other than just like, it looks better, but they didn't even really get into that. You never got a comparison. You never got anything. And because they're going so hard into this cross-gen, I feel like you need to give me some incentive to step up. You need to show me what that is. You need to tell me what that is. You need to give me something tangible that I can look at other than 4K ray tracing, which is fine. But like, I want to see something different between the two. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Something more than just a general, like, I don't know, it looks better. But this is going, here's side by side, frame by frame, what we can do with Ori to make Ori a better game on Series X.
Gotcha. Okay, I can kind of understand that. I think real quick, I don't think Everwild is coming out on Xbox One.
Oh, I forgot about their weird crap like that.
Yeah. I don't even touch that stuff with it. But that was really strange about which games are Series X, which ones aren't.
Yeah.
Honestly,
leave it in, whatever.
We both know a lot about games, and it's still kind of confusing to us. I like that Obsidian is just going hard after Bethesda. I just really appreciate that. I think it's like, so it's finally, I don't know, it's not like Bethesda needs to get knocked down a peg or two. It's like the people already shit on them all the time. But I do feel it's like kind of funny that it's like you guys are somebody's trying to take the crown up from them on these sort of Fallout Skyrim games. Yeah. And if there's anybody to do it, it's the guys who made the best Fallout game.
Exactly.
I wasn't a huge fan of Outer Wilds, but I just like this idea of them doing like, you know what, it was interesting. It was an interesting twist on Fallout, and it's like now I'm curious what their interesting twist is on Skyrim. I think that's just a cool idea.
I think it'll be interesting. Again, a concept trailer. I think after Outer Wilds was so out there, or Outer Worlds, damn it. I think after how out there that one was, it is kind of unique, and it did some cool sci-fi things, and it did some cool things. I think going back to that, like, general fantasy setting is kind of like, all right, we've seen this before. But again, to your point, I think seeing something Elder Scrolls-ish when we're 10 years away from Skyrim and another 10 years away from Elder Scrolls 6, I think is a good place for this game to land.
Yeah, it is kind of cool because like this one, I don't know when this comes out with an Elder Scrolls 6, but that'll be such like you'll see all those comparison videos between Elder Scrolls 6 and this one for sure. The thing that is really cool that I heard about is that it's one of the things I was worried about somebody coming after Skyrim's launch was like Skyrim is such like a huge world, like how the hell are they going to do this? It's based off their Pillars of Eternity series.
Exactly, yeah, which they didn't
so they already had a universe.
All.
Yeah, like they did that. They already did the research. I was like, oh, it's like, oh man, they could do it. It's kind of exciting.
Yeah, and I think that fact makes this game feel closer than it might be. I think when I saw that trailer, I was like, oh, this is like 2023. And then you're like, oh no, we already have the lore, we have the backstory, we've done that writing, we've done that work. Yeah, we got to build our gameplay, we got to build all this stuff because you're going to look very different than Pillars of Eternity in this game. But you've got all that background stuff done, which is like, okay, that probably moves this game up a year because you're not starting from scratch on all the developments, all the like modelings, all the world building that you'd have to do.
Sure. Yeah. No, exactly. It felt feasible. It felt like it felt like a game that could actually exist, which is, if you hear we're making the next Skyrim, it's like, sure you are, guys. Like, good luck, guys. But it's like, oh no, we can actually, and now with Microsoft money, it's like,
that's where this could have been that Horizon moment of like, I think, again, I think they're very early into this, still with Outer Worlds expansions coming out. So I think they're still probably very early into this. That's why we're not seeing gameplay. But I think this is that thing where this could take that moment of like, okay, this is the new major Xbox franchise. This is going to be when we start our showcase, we got Master Chief, we got main character from Avowed, we've got Marcus Phoenix. Mm-hmm. Those are our guys now.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get new guys up there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that. That's a really good point. That's interesting. I like that idea. Oh, that'd be cool. Like, yeah, just give me a new silhouette of a guy. Like, not just Master Chief. Like, you can put Master Chief in there again, and maybe Phoenix. But it'd be cool to get a new one. So you don't like Psychonauts? I know you're not like a huge. You don't. Not that you don't like it. You're just not a huge fan of it. So that really didn't do.
I played an hour of it and was like, okay.
It's okay to have wrong opinions and stuff. That's fine. We can still be friends. So Psychonauts 2. I love Psychonauts. The only thing to say about Psychonauts 2 is that it is exactly what I wanted from Psychonauts 2. It looks like a Psychonauts, but better and prettier. So thank you. You did it. You did it. You did the Psychonauts 2. You did it.
I could see that. I have a grudge against this game.
What the fuck?
You opened up your trailer with Jack Black standing there in a Double Fine logo. Oh, and all I wanted
that's why I forgot about this.
And I literally was like, edge of my sheet, like, no way, brutal. And I was like, oh, you're singing a song in Psychonauts 2. All right, never mind. So it literally, it hurt. It was like that moment. I was like, no way, no. Oh man, okay. So, little grudge against Psychonauts 2 there.
That's so funny because I'll bet they thought about that. Like they must have thought about it, like, but they're like the Brutal Legend audience is gonna be so small. But like it's so funny they affected you in such a unique way. I didn't think about that. I didn't think about that at all. I was just like, I actually when I saw it, I was like, oh, it's gonna be Psychonauts and Jack Black's in Psychonauts because he's in every Double Fine game now.
Yeah.
But that's so funny. That was bro. It's not happening, man.
I know, but there was that moment, and now it's gone.
I forgot you like that game so much. That's really funny.
So good.
I'm not cool enough to like Stalker 2. I feel like Stalker 2 is for cool people who play Stalker, and I am just not that cool enough. I played Stalker. I didn't get it. And I feel like it's one of those things when there's like a band that like the cool kids like, and like, hey man, listen to this. It's good shit. This is like the primo stuff. And I listen to it. I'm just like, I don't know if I'm into it. And that's what I felt about Stalker 2. It's just like, I wish I could be cool enough to be excited about this because I just know that audience is so hardcore. I understand why they think Metro sucks and why Stalker's cool and that sort of thing. And just kind of like, I just thought it was kind of a fun announcement just in and of itself. Like Stalker 2 is such a dumb, weird announcement that's just like, oh, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So that to me is like a good surprise, even if you don't like that series.
Good, yeah, for sure, good surprise. And again, it's one of those things where it's like, kind of like you, it's like, I've heard good things, but I never touched it, so I don't know anything about it. But, yeah.
I do feel at this point, though, with the Stalker 2 announcement, is when we started getting into more interesting games. They just weren't made by Microsoft or associated with Microsoft at all.
Yeah.
Because I think the next one that we were both really, really into, I think this is one of my favorite. I think this was my favorite one, was The Medium. The Medium there is nothing about this I don't like. It just looks like the coolest ass Silent Hill inspired I actually don't. I forgot the artist name is who they did, but I feel like a lot of horror games now, it's like Geiger is the horror artist, but there's actually a bunch of really famous horror artists, and I forgot the name of the guy they did, but they're definitely very specifically aping that guy's style. It's just something I haven't seen in a game before. I don't know. This game just looks incredible, and the screenshots they showed where you're like playing on two screens.
Oh yeah.
That to me was like, oh, that's not next gen idea necessarily, but just like an interesting idea I haven't seen before, and I think this game looks effing sick. And this is one of those ones like, I'm getting a Game Pass for this one.
This is definitely one of those ones that I looked at and was like, yep, that's one of the few on this list where it's like, that's a day one. I need to see what this thing is. I don't want to hear a word from anybody. Like,
oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is one of those games where it's like, I don't need any more. I'm good. What's here? You showed me. You got me. Let's just quiet and then let it come out so that you don't give me like all this other detail that's going to ruin my brain. But I think coming off of Control too, I think there's kind of this weird space for games like this right now.
Oh, cool. That's an interesting idea. Yeah, sure.
And I think you can kind of see some parallels in the way that Control did things. And then I think just taking it and going, okay, Control did all this like weird reality bending stuff with your main protagonist. And now, we're doing the weird reality bending things with the world and which world are you in and controlling both at once. Just really cool ideas that looks awesome.
That's funny. I didn't think about Control opening the door for like other sort of semi big budget games that are, not semi big budget, but like bigger games with weirder universes. Yeah. I feel, you know what I mean? Like I feel like Control has just a very, very strange universe that you just don't necessarily see even in the AA space where it kind of hovers. It's like you just don't see like a weird universe. And it's kind of cool that they're doing that. Next one is a very cool announcement if you've played Vermintide, and I know you haven't, but I'm trying to think of a good example of like what this is like. So Vermintide is basically Left 4 Dead for Warhammer. It is a super, super solid game. And it's kind of hard. I think it's a ton of fun. I didn't put a ton of time into it, but I beat the second one. And it's just kind of cool because the whole thing with the Vermintide series is that's set in the older Warhammer universe. And as you're watching this, and the thing I really liked about this trailer is it doesn't really let on that it's Warhammer for like a while. And it's just like, oh, and it's kind of funny because like, oh, it just kind of looks like a generic soldiers coming into a darkened thing, and they're this, and it's like, well, it doesn't really look like a normal zombie. And it's like, boom, Warhammer 40K Darktide. And I immediately was like, oh shit, they made a Vermintide sequel. And there's a lot. It's kind of cool. It's like, if people are familiar with the Vermintide series, this is like a really cool announcement. And if you're not, it's just Left 4 Dead but better. And it's set in a cooler universe. So I think it's just a fun game to get excited about. I just thought it was like a really fun announcement. That Brad, I know you don't care about. It's funny, like a lot of these Xbox games, I was like, man, I'm so excited for this. And Brad's like, yeah, okay, sure. It's all right.
Yeah.
So, I like Tetris Effect. You like Tetris Effect.
I love Tetris Effect.
So, this thing did nothing for me. Like, multiplayer in Tetris Effect, fine. But why are you so excited about this one? Because I think the parts of Tetris Effect I liked are different than the parts that you like that made you go, ooh, multiplayer.
So part of this was the first game that I'd seen in this conference, really, like outside of like Halo, Avowed, that I was like, I'm gonna play the shit out of that. You know what I mean? Like I already have, and I'm gonna play more. I think most of my excitement was just like, I was like, okay, the medium is awesome, but you saw the Gunk before this, you saw Warhammer, you saw Psychonauts, you saw Destiny, you saw S.T.A.L.K.E.R, you saw Duskfall, you saw all these things where I'm like, okay. And then it's like, whoa, Tetris, this is awesome. And if you haven't played Tetris Effect, I don't think it has that same impact. But Tetris Effect is just so good, and I just think anything more with that, like even if there's like 2 more songs, like I'm in all the way.
Okay.
And just,
so you weren't excited about the multiplayer aspect? That wasn't what got you. It's just the fact there's more Tetris content.
Effect. Yeah, it's just more Tetris. Right, that's really what it was more than anything else. It's more cool ways to play Tetris, which there's never enough cool ways to play Tetris.
No, and Tetris Effect is the best Tetris. That's just
100%.
Unequivocally. Yeah, I don't know why people talk even about other Tetrises after Tetris Effect. It's so good.
Exactly.
No, I can understand that, though. But like sometimes you see a conference where it's just like, I love the shit out of this thing, and I'm gonna love more of it, sort of thing.
And that's all it was. It wasn't necessarily like, at no point am I going to go like, this was the best game they showed. This is the game that's gonna sell those Series X's. It was just, ooh, I like this. I like more of this. Okay. Done.
Yeah, I can see that. Okay, now I can kind of understand. I was very confused by your excitement for it. It's just like it's just multiplayer, but I can see that. Just a little bit more of Tetris Effect is always cool.
It's another reason for me to go and spend another 10 to 20 hours playing Tetris Effect.
Sure.
Okay. Even if I only touch the new stuff once, I know it's enough that I'll go like, let's just go through all these one more time.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. I've played that campaign. Oh my god, dude! I was playing on Expert, and it's where you have to play each one in a row.
Oh yeah.
And me and my fiance had gone through all of it, and then we failed on the final level. Felt real bad, but you can do it. I believe in you. Feels bad though.
I don't think I ever made it all the way through that. I think it was either like, I know I got close to the end a couple times, but
yeah, it's fun. That's a fun game to be good at because it's also pretty. It plays really well. I want to talk about Crossfire X for a second because this is sort of like the underbelly is not the right word, but this sort of aspect of the game industry like we don't talk about, that like the games that people are generally known for is not necessarily the ones where they make a lot of their money.
Yeah.
So for example, like Ninja Theory, that's the guys who did Hellblade, right? I mean, that's
Ninja Theory did Hellblade, right? Yep.
Yeah, so they did a lot of stuff on Disney Infinity, like a ton.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And that's like there's this kind of interesting thing, and like it's funny if you listen to like developers talk and stuff. There's things like we need to like make we need to pay, and not even saying paying the bills is it's like it's demeaning, but there's like a reality to it. It's just like, hey, we do contract work.
We're a business.
And this to me, I was so excited that Remedy is not going out of business. I'm just like them and Double Fine. Every time they release a game, I'm like, this could be the last one. Like,
we know there will be one more after this.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I don't know how Controlled sold. I was not a huge fan, but I like that Remedy exists. I like the idea of that game. I want them to keep making more. I just want them to exist in the game industry. It's like, they're going to keep on going.
The potential for Alan Wake 2 is still there.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Crossfire was like so funny, generic, like so weirdly the way you would describe making a FPS campaign that's kind of like Call of Duty. It was like so perfectly just that.
But isn't this like one of the biggest games in the world?
Yeah, this is okay.
And that's like the weird thing where it's like, if you're not in the United States, like, you know all about this, and those of us in the United States, like, but it's not just Call of Duty knockoff, and everybody else is like, no.
Yeah.
This is the one.
It is kind of funny because that's actually a really funny comparison. Does Crossfire X actually make more money than Call of Duty is a really funny question because I don't know the answer.
I'm now very, very interested.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because it is funny on like one hand, like you're saying, it's like we're just like, oh, this is Remedy just kind of, well, what I'm saying is like, oh, this is just Remedy doing side work. It's like, actually, this is Remedy working with the most popular FPS game on the planet.
This is Remedy getting some of that Fortnite money, basically.
Yeah, Remedy making Fortnite money is very funny.
Alan Wake 2 is going to look real good.
Yeah, that is really funny. This is just laying the foundation for Control 2 and Alan Wake 2.
Exactly.
Yeah, and so they do the one thing, and I don't know. I actually think it's kind of important. Is it important? I always think it's good to have your concert end on like a real like future. We're not giving a date on this. We're not doing that.
Potential.
And, yeah. And they did it. And like and it was Fable. And I remember when the trailer started, I was like, ooh, Fable. Mm-hmm. And I was like, we're about to see Fable. And we're about to, that was it. Okay. I guess we're done. I guess we're not seeing Fable. What we saw was an announcement of Fable.
Yes.
We did not see Fable. We saw an announcement of Fable. And I like the first one a lot, but did this do anything for you as like an Xbox fan? Because actually, I know you play these games. You've played them.
I have played all of them for maybe 5 hours.
Okay.
It's it's always been one of those series where every time one comes out, I look at it and go, all right, cool, I'm in. Like I can go grab them all off the shelf over there, but
sure.
I don't. It's one of those weird things where for whatever reason I can just never get into them. I think the first one I actually might have made it a good chunk of the way through way back in the day, but I know 2 and 3, I just, whatever reason, it was just one of those ones where, okay, I get it. It always just seemed like fantasy RPG, but with a little bit of humor.
Sure.
And that was never really quite enough of a hook for me.
So I want you, okay, give me like your 2-word response when I say the word Fable.
2 words, not one?
Give me 1 word. What's 1 word? Fable.
My first thought is
Okay, Fable, but by the guys who did Forza Horizon.
Well, why aren't they doing Forza Horizon?
No, how dare you? I think that's so cool. I think that is.
Again, this
the
is
announcement. That's such a fun idea. That's so fun. They make amazing games. And I think like.
But why Fable? Again, it's that thing of like.
Oh, okay, sure. Oh, okay.
You could do such a cool thing, like the way you took, like essentially just sim racing, and you put your own super cool spin on it, and you made Forza Horizon 4, which I think there's an argument to say that Horizon might be better than the main one, depending on who you are. I don't know. I like the main, or I like Horizon style games better, but
I think depending on most people. Yeah, I don't think that's like a hard argument to make. Yeah,
but you took something and you made it really cool. Now, could you do that with Fable? I think so. There's a lot of potential there, but it's just one of those things where it's like, this team is so good and the games they made are so good. Why are you forcing the name Fable onto it? You know what I mean? It's one of those things where Fable almost has that. And again, I might be off on this. I don't think I've finished any of them. Fable in my mind has that, or it's like Final Fantasy. You know what I mean? There's some generic connections between them, but they're not. They're not.
I was very confused. I was like, no, it's not.
but you know what I mean?
For so many reasons.
It's like it's giving you a style more than a plot point to go off of.
Sure. Yeah.
It's giving you like the general direction that this is going to fall in because we're calling it Fable. I think if you play that same trailer and at the end you call it Frogwoods or whatever, like I don't name. Thank you. Took a long time. I think if you just you play that same trailer and you come up with a brand new game and you go again that new IP thing where I think some of these old ideas are just holding back what could be. And now again they could make the exact same game, and I think you put Fable on it, it sells better. Sure, but I really feel like it's pointing a direction already. And again, I think that style fits with what they did with Forza Horizon games, where they took something and made it a little bit more fun and goofy, which I think is what Fable's always tried to do. Yeah. But it's just like, why are we pigeonholing ourselves into this is going to be like a Fable game?
Actually, as you were talking, the one thing that kind of made me think of is like, if you believe this studio who makes, open world car racing games could make a new Fable, why are you telling them to make a new Fable?
Exactly.
Like, if you think they're that talented, why are you?
Exactly. If you are saying you are one of the top developers, because Fable is one of those, for whatever reasons, it's one of those names that Xbox holds in such high esteem, and we're going, we are gifting you Fable. We are going to give this to you. You are so good. We're going to give this to you. And in my mind, I'm going, if we're that good, then let us make our own thing. Why are you giving us this? It's like, you are the best artist ever. You are the most creative. You can do such great things. Could you paint a tree for me? And it's like, I'm sure they will make an excellent tree. Like, it'll be the best looking tree you've ever seen. But like, if you just left it wide open, who knows what you would have got.
That's funny. So interesting. So if that, like you were saying, if that trailer ended in Frogwood, you would have been like, "Oh, this is awesome! I'm so excited!" Because Forza Horizon are making a fantasy game. Just leave it at that. You would have been like, "This is actually awesome."
And then it's Fable, and I just got that thing of like, again, me personally, I didn't care for the first three, so it's like that. Like, okay, it's going to be this. It's going to have these kind of stylings. It's going to fit into this. Now, those games are very different in setting, but again, kind of similar to Final Fantasy. You know the direction we're going. Sure. Fable has to mean something. You know what I mean? Fable has to be incorporating something. It's not like, just make whatever fantasy game you want and we'll call it Fable because it'll sell 10 million more copies. Granted, that does seem like a good business decision, but I feel like if you're calling it Fable, you have to have certain things in mind from those series. And it's not a series that ever really hit me, so.
Sure. That's funny. No, that's interesting. No, I get it. So I think that was kind of an interesting thing. I guess one thing I did want to kind of finish on, there's a better way to say this. What is your relationship with Xbox going into next gen? Like, so
we're semi-serious, but like,
so I mean, I think we're both decided, it's like, well, we're getting PS5s. I mean, this kind of said, it's like, okay, we're getting PS5s. But to me, it's like, I'm getting PS5 and I'm sure as shit getting Game Pass and like getting that every time a new Microsoft console, Xbox thing comes out. Is that kind of what you're feeling too?
Well, you're talking for PC because you have PC.
Yes.
I don't have a PC that's going to play any of these. So as long as whichever ones are doing their weird cross-gen thing, which I don't want to get into specifics, but whichever ones do that, there are definitely, I will be re-upping Game Pass because that's such a ridiculously good deal that
Yeah.
Even something I'm vaguely interested in, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
$15, why not?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, shit. Yours is 15. Mine's 5, so mine's a much lower barrier.
Maybe it's 10. I think it might be 15 if you get PC and Xbox. I don't remember, but
yeah. No, I was just kind of curious because I think it's just like they've definitely set themselves up. Like they didn't show any system sellers, which was weird.
Exactly. And again, I mean,
but they're selling, but they did show Game Pass sellers. I don't know.
That's the weird thing. And that's the thing with me and Xbox is, I mean, if you were to go look at my game stacks of games in the other room on my bookshelf, my Xbox One is the fullest because I like.
Oh yeah. Not Xbox One. You're just saying Xbox 360.
If you were to go Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo,
sure.
Xbox One's the most filled up because I mean, like 360, like I didn't even buy a PS3 I think until about a year before the PlayStation 4 came out, and I bought that because somebody was like, "Hey, you want this for $50?" I'm like, sure.
Jeez.
And then just I think my issue is, and this might be a whole separate topic, a whole separate video.
Yeah.
I feel like Microsoft has just never moved away from Halo, Gears of War, Fable, Forza.
Sure.
And it's been that since, 2002-ish?
Sure.
And here we are in 2020 still going, but did you see Halo? Oh my gosh, they're making a new Fable. The new Forza looks amazing. It's going to show that console off so well.
Yeah.
And you're still stuck on those same four. It's like, there's not that much innovation, I think, happening in those games to warrant us 18 years later still waiting on those same three properties.
Sure. They're still but they did try. I mean, they're trying like Everwild. I'm like looking at the list and I was like, but Everwild and Avowed, both of which we don't really know.
And that's the thing. Where, like I said when we started this, I knew, or I wanted those new things. I'm waiting for the moment when Xbox is investing in studios and they're investing all this. I'm waiting for those new IPs. Mm-hmm. I'm waiting for those new ideas. And I think that's one thing that Sony's done really well over the past couple generations is, okay, we moved into PlayStation 4. Now we've got Horizon. We moved from PlayStation 2 to PlayStation 3. We went from Jak and Daxter to Uncharted. Okay, into PlayStation 3, we're giving you The Last of Us. That's going to carry over to the next one. Killzone's back there. We're not doing Killzone anymore. You know what I mean? You've got this progression where you're seeing these studios move on to new things. And I feel like it's just like, here's another Halo. Here's another Fable.
Yeah, I think it used to annoy me that PlayStation would like kind of like refresh every time, but like now as I've gotten older, I was like, actually, that's probably a smart decision. They did keep making Ape Escape games forever. I mean, I like an Ape Escape game, but it's not happening.
And it's not saying they're bad games because, like I said, I will be playing Halo Infinite day one and running through that game, no question. Yeah. I will be trying out Fable. I'll be trying these all out, but I just feel like again, it's just that we're getting good games, but we're getting the same good games.
Yeah. It kind of like I get that they're now playing a different game with the Game Pass stuff, but it's like it was so I feel like games were like really getting pushed forward like when they were Xbox and PlayStation were going neck and neck on AAA games. Yeah. And even like I'll definitely throw Nintendo on there too because they definitely changed games like Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild. It's like we're doing new stuff but there's just not that AAA head to head. But now it's between Nintendo and PlayStation. That's not really right either. It's like, I don't know. Yeah. It's just kind of disappointing that like they're not just going tooth and nail on like we are going to make the next bar. It's like Sony's going to raise the bar and Xbox is going to keep making pretty good games.
And again, I think that's like you said, Game Pass, and I think that's that weird cross-gen thing where they're going, well, you can play this on Xbox One or Xbox One X or Xbox One Series X, and you can play it on everything. And I think that's that feeling where, okay, some of these are going to be Series X, but we're playing a different game, like you said. We want subscribers. We want constant iteration. We want these things more so than here's this brand new showpiece like you get from Sony.
Yeah. I just wish it was both Sony, Nintendo, and Xbox all pushing the bar forward in different ways.
For sure.
Because Nintendo's doing it too. It's just, and Sony's like, every game that comes out from it's like, wow, I've never seen this like before. Just, I don't know. It's kind of disappointing, I guess. But I'm going to get Game Pass, and Game Pass is kind of cool. So I don't know.
And that's the entire point of this presentation.
Yep.
We are Workforce Gaming. You can follow us on Twitter @Workforce Gaming. Subscribe to us wherever you're listening, and we will see you later.
Bye.